It's pretty simple. It's just essentially the two-part release. The important trick is the hand placement, okay? So now, when Artie's laying here on the table, most of the time, most people, you can feel the coronal suture. As you come down, you can, so her coronal suture is right here. Okay, so it's this far back. And most of the time, if you look, it's about even with the front of the ear, and most people. You have a little growth there, huh?
Yeah, if there's a cyst, it's been there for years.
Oh, like a sebaceous cyst? Okay, yeah.
Yeah,
You're right.
probably.
Yeah. Okay. So, so the way I do my hand placement is I put my fingers right together. I get my little fingers out of the way and put my ring fingers right down on the table. Okay? And then I come in onto the top of the head and just go out the sides until I feel that where it goes from horizontal to vertical. And I put my ring fingers right down on the table, and that's where I put my fingers. Okay? So, and then I keep my fingers fairly close together, because if you look and see where my index finger is, if I go up here, see, even just that far, I'm on the frontal bone, because her coronal suture is right there. So to stay on the parietal bone, I've got to be pretty far posterior. So I only have room for these three fingers, and I don't want to go down too far, because what would happen? I'll be on the temporal bone, because again, where this beveled suture is varies in people. Sometimes it's really close to the ear, sometimes it's clear up here. And that suture is harder to feel. It's smoother. Sometimes it's harder to feel that one. But in Artie, it's right here. So her temporal bones go up this high. Okay? So I only have this little window right here. So the way to find it is put your ring fingers right down on the table, come in on the top of the head, and go out until it just turns that corner. And that's where I want to put my fingers. So another way to feel it is to go down and then just come back up a little bit.
And you're on that protuberance.
Yeah. So basically on that big, bulging part of the, and then I get my fingers down, because I don't want to be up here like this. Okay? So, and then I make connection with the bone. Very light, basically neutral, make connection with the bone. And then to do the release, what I want to do is invite those inferior edges of the parietal bones medially. Invite them medially. Okay? So I put a little tiny bit of pressure on them. And this is where you get that sensation of swishing the plywood through water, because as you do that, you have to wait for the CSF to move out of the way as you push the parietals medially.
So you're doing a little bit of compression?
A little bit of compression. And then once I feel that they're disconnected from the temporals, then I invite them superiorly towards my belly. And that will generally trigger, so as soon as you do that, it triggers unwinding in the parietals. So I'm just following the unwinding then.
Can you just repeat what your first pressure was?
So you go medially,
Okay, medially.
and once it disconnects, then you go superiorly.
Okay.
Okay? And that will, and again, these are, I mean, how much force was I using, Artie?
Nothing actually.
But a little more than we often use, though. But that right there is putting.
I was trying to figure out whether medially means this way
Medial
or
means towards
this
your
way,
midline.
and I
In the
couldn't really
middle.
tell. I just felt the very slightest bit, and I couldn't tell whether this is this
the top, I'm trying to swing those bottom parts in. So
Okay.
imagine if they're parados like this, you're trying to swing them like that. Okay, so I'm not compressing here. Yeah, I want to disengage the parietal temporal bevel.
Okay.
And that's why it's important to remember that parietals are underneath the temporals, because by that medial compression will disengage them a little bit. Okay? So, but again, we're using cranial level forces. So pushing that in, waiting for the fluid to move out of the way a little bit. There it goes, because we just did it. And now I'm going to invite it towards my belly. And that starts it unwinding. And so once it unwinds, they start moving independently of each other. So one is going like this, the other one's going like this, and they just kind of, they're just dancing around a little bit like that. And then just, again, keep following it and following it and following it. And a release would feel like you could just take them all the way towards your belly. Okay? And that, the unwinding and stuff is also freeing the parietal occipital suture. So then, once they free and start coming towards my belly, then I can put my awareness into the falx and just see if there's any restrictions in the falx. Okay? So it's just a simple two-step plan. You want to decompress and pull. Okay?
Question. So in cryocircle therapy, if my hands is a little bit off, does it like mess up the whole technique?
The body will often tell you
Okay.
it won't feel quite right, or it'll buck a little bit, and so just reposition your hand. Yeah. So, but the main thing to watch for is to not be on the frontal bone and to not be down on the temporal bones. So this hand position's a little bit, but if you just keep your ring fingers on the table and keep your fingers close together, not spread them out, you'll be okay. And don't go all the way down the side. Okay? So, are there two people that are willing to work back in the other bedroom?
Sure.
If there's